Hey you guys, it's Crystal from the Abundant Bus Homestead. The camera's too short, so I'm going to fix it really quick. So hang on, I'm going to make you taller. Alright, we'll try that. Whew, now you're really tall. Hang on. There we go. Hello, Gretchen. Thanks for jumping on. We have a ton of stuff to get to tonight. Just gonna wait like a couple more minutes so more people can jump on, because I don't want to get started into something and then have everyone have a lot of questions as to what we've already covered. So feel free to ask questions down to the comments. I want this to kind of be like an open forum type of thing, and any questions you have, put them down there. All right, guys, thank you for jumping on. Just as a little disclaimer, I am not a licensed herbalist. I am a mother with a large family that had to figure out how to make herbs and herbal remedies herself. So I am not licensed. I am not licensed to give medical advice. However, this is my experience with herbs, how I've done it for the last 10 or 11 years with my kids and my family. And I want to share it with you because it's a way to make herbs and natural remedies more affordable. And also, when you take your own health into your own hands, there's a lot of freedom and a lot of power in that. And I like to give that same feeling to another parent when you finally take over your own health for your own family. We handle about 98% of illness here on the farm without having to go anywhere for help. Obviously, everyone has their own line as far as where help should be sought out. But for instance, in the last 4 years, we've only been into the doctor once. And it was with a breathing issue. It was right before COVID. And anyway, it was a scary time. And so we had to take our little guy in because he was less than a year old. And he was having breathing difficulties. So obviously you go in then. But I'm just saying that to say that we've handled everything else: cold, flus, food poisoning, the whole work, liver cleanse, liver support, all here on the farm. So I just wanted to talk really quickly. If you're new and you don't know about the Weston A. Price Foundation, they're an amazing group. They send out 4 of these quarterly journals a year if you pay $40 for their membership. And inside these journals is a ton of information from doctors and naturopaths and people from all over the world that write amazing articles. So if you're interested in that, that's over at www.westonaprice.org. We're going to be talking a lot tonight about what they recommend for diet and how that plays into our overall health and our defense against illness. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. So my history, my start with herbs was about, let's see, what year was that? 2012. So about 11 years ago, there was this parasite, or whatever you want to call it, going around on the lettuce. It was called Cyclospora, and all of my children got it because we had went out to eat, and my husband got it. And Cyclospora was something where if you went into the doctor to get tested for it, they would just tell you to give you antibiotics, but that the diarrhea, etc., would continue for weeks on end until the body decided to handle it. Hey, Jackie. And so my husband was actually out of work because he couldn't leave the toilet. It was really, really bad diarrhea. So I was talking to a friend about it, and she had recommended going ahead and looking into herbs. Hey, Jimmy. Looking into herbs and calling this herbalist friend of mine. We became friends. And so I called her, and she was very, very helpful. The difference between modern medicine and herbal medicine is modern medicine tries to pinpoint exactly what you need, whereas herbal medicine recognizes what system of the body needs help. So for instance, they had my husband and my children on digestional and intestinal support, and also a natural parasitic, anti-parasitic type drop. So I was very, very helpful to it was very, very helpful to have her help, and I was very, very excited to get the tinctures. but the total bill was in the hundreds by the time I was done, and I didn't get very much product. And so at the end of it, I felt very, very empowered because within 24 hours, all the diarrhea in the entire house was gone, and energy was back like within 1 or 2 days total. So it was a much, much shorter recovery time than what the doctor had promised us. So I sold on herbs, but what was holding me back from herbs was the cost, because I stay at home with our children and my husband is a breadwinner and he's just in construction. So we don't have a huge income coming in. And so I can't afford every time we get sick to spend $400 on tinctures. So that led me into learning how to make this stuff myself. And right now it's really, really important. And I'm so glad everybody's here. If you have any questions, go ahead and make a comment. I will answer questions as they come. It's really important right now. It always has been important, but it's very important right now to educate yourself on how to make your own tinctures and herbal remedies while you still can. Right now we all still have access to internet. Right now we all have access to buy books. Right now we have all of us have access to buy herbs. So while you have that freedom still, I strongly encourage you to learn what I'm going to show you tonight. I'm going to show you some books that you need to buy and to really start educating yourself and really start incorporating the use of herbs with your family while you still have time. Don't wait until the FDA or the government outlaws herbs or the sale of herbs or homeopathic things. Start now, start educating yourself. And there's even books I'm going to share with you that tell you how to identify these wild herbs and how to harvest them. And so if you can start wildly harvesting the herbs that are around you, you'll be amazed at what's everywhere for you to utilize. It's just everywhere. So what are we going to cover tonight? We're going to cover what books to buy. That's the first thing we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about where to buy supplies. I do have a really old 5-year-old video on this channel that covers a lot of all of this, but all of the stuff is outdated in that video. So we're going to discuss where to buy it today, how to determine which herbs to buy for your family. I'm going to talk about my favorite top 6 or 7, maybe even 8 tinctures for illness for my family. We're going to talk about what is a tincture and how does it work. We're going to make 3 different types of tinctures tonight, and we're going to talk about what herbs you have in your kitchen that also have a multi-medicinal use. So stick around for all that. It's going to be really a jam-packed show. We're just going to get this done. Like I said, if anyone has any questions at any time, please put them in the comments, and I'll try and stop wherever I am and answer your question right away, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over our books. So for general illness, to take the fear out of illness, particularly childhood illnesses, these are really great books. So get your pencil ready. Here we go. So this is How to Raise a Child in Spite of Your Doctor. Okay, this is a very good book. You have to go to used books in order to find this. So Abe books or thrift books. This goes through all the childhood illnesses or sicknesses your kid could possibly get, what to do about it, how long it lasts, how scary really is it. It's an amazing book. Takes the fear out of illness. So that is How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor. Not necessarily herbal related. There are a couple herbal references, but just more so taking the fear out of illness. Okay, so that's my first recommendation. Second recommendation for general illness is the Purple Book by Sally Fallon and Dr. Thomas Cowan. This is the Nourishing Traditions Book of Baby and Child Care. This is a must-have for every parent. If you have babies, children, get this book. You can buy it used for super cheap. This is a must-have. Once again, it goes through all of the things you come across as a parent, all of the illnesses, all of the difficulties, and this does actually mention herbs and natural remedies. This is a must-have, super, super cheap on used books. It's amazing. So the Nourishing Traditions Book of Baby and Child Care. Thanks. My go-to book for baby showers. What are we doing? It's a little wild. Hey, can you go watch a movie?
Oh, I can see that.
Okay. Next book. Okay, so the next book, and this is a must-have, I feel like, for herbal health. Okay, and tinctures and using, learning to be able to, what you use for which tincture, for what problem you have. My brother actually bought me this book. It's called Today's Herbal Health by Louise Tenney, Master Herbalist. This is amazing because this book is a huge resource. You can look up what conditions you're having, and it lists off all of the herbs to take and how to make them. This is like my go-to if I'm battling something that I've never battled before, don't have it memorized yet. But even in the back, they have like natural antiseptics, herbs and remedies for the respiratory system. There's a whole section for the immune system. It's just this book, you need this if you're going to be doing herbs for your family. The next one that is my favorite, and this is just good because it has step-by-step how to make your own remedies in it, is Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herb, a Beginner's Guide. This shows you a little bit on how to grow it. I wouldn't emphasize that. It does show you how to identify and how to use basic herbs. It goes through everything from elderberry to dandelions to sage, garlic. Some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight are all in here. And how to take those items and make your own remedies. This one is really good. It's super simple and it's not overwhelming. So that's Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs. This was one of the ones I really, really used in the beginning. Rosemary Gladstar has lots of books. I also bought this book. It's Rosemary Gladstar's Herbal Recipes. This is not a must-have, guys. It has a lot of like herbal recipes for like herbal shampoo and herbal lotions and herbal soaps and teas and all sorts of things, which is great. It's just really overwhelming because, guys, it's super thick. I've maybe only opened this book like twice, but if you have some of the other books and you have a little bit of extra, book budget this month, go ahead and put it into your cart. But I don't really use this one very much. It's a good book, just I don't personally use it very, very much. I don't really have time to make my own shampoos and stuff, so I have it just in case I have to make my own shampoos, but not planning on doing that for fun. Okay, so the next book that I strongly recommend, and this is kind of the next level, but this is Homegrown Herbs. This is basically teaching you how to grow your own herbs, what zones each herb grows in, and then also how to use it. So if you're into growing your own, this is a really good resource. If you're not quite there yet, just skip it until you get to a point where you are comfortable growing your own herbs in your backyard. I will warn you though, a lot of our medicinal herbs that we're going to even mention tonight, in certain states are listed in the law as noxious weeds. So if you live in town, I would just look and see what your state has viewed as a noxious weed and make sure you're not growing it within sight, because you can get, depending on where you live, you can get in trouble for growing weeds or herbs that have been labeled noxious by your particular state. For instance, like the state of South Dakota where I live, mullein is a noxious weed. And actually mullein is an amazing tincture we're going to talk about tonight. It's one of my top 6 for your herbal cabinet. It's an amazing tincture. It's like a mucinex form of an herb. And so it gets really, really tall though, so it's hard to hide. It's just one of those deals where it's really unfortunate that our government has labeled certain plants as noxious because they do have a value, just like dandelions have a value. So those are all the books tonight. Hopefully you guys all got that written down. Okay, so let's talk about how we can make any herbal remedy more effective. Jenny says, Isaac's cousin has a whole garden bed of mullein. Yeah, I'm not sure what the laws are in Minnesota. Maybe it's not illegal there. Maybe he just doesn't care. Either way. Okay, so how to make a herbal remedy more effective. So number 1 is eating a nourishing diet every day. So a lot of the meals we make here on the channel are nourishing. We're talking about lots of healthy fats, lots of healthy meat, clean food. Who was the author on that last book? Sure, hang on one second. So it's Homegrown Herbs by Tammy Hartung. There you go. So Homegrown Herbs. And it's nice. It's like a whole bunch of really, really pretty, colorful pages. They talk about how to keep weeds under control and all sorts of stuff for growing herbs. And then they talk about edible flowers too. They have like charts of edible flowers, like what you can eat and everything. So that's a good book. I haven't used it too much because I haven't gotten quite into growing my own herbs, but it's nice to have when I do reach that step. Okay, so yeah, we want to be consuming a nourishing diet full of lots of vitamin A and D. And one of the amazing things that we have at our disposal with vitamin A and D is fermented cod liver oil. There is, some people don't want to be taking fermented cod liver oil. There's a little bit of a controversy over it. We use it with our family with no problems whatsoever. But this basically has the perfect level of vitamin A and vitamin D in it. It's for really good health. Another option could be emu oil. That's another one that has A and D in it as well. And vitamin K too. Okay, so then the next thing to make any herbal remedy more effective would be to avoid the consumption of sugar. And we're going to talk more about this in just a little bit. You always wonder why people get so sick in the holidays. I'm going to tell you why in just a few minutes. Avoiding processed foods, another huge one. And I'll tell you the meaning of that as well. It's not just my personal preference. I'm going to give you the science as to why we want to avoid processed foods and why they can make you sicker. And then liver support. So liver supplements, I actually encapsulate my own liver. And we're going to talk about how to encapsulate too tonight. If you're interested in buying powdered liver, powdered natural vitamin C that's already in capsules, I love this company because they'll sell you a tub of liver and you can encapsulate the liver yourself and save a ton of money. The link is down below. It's perfectsupplements.com. All you do is click on that. It'll take you to the main page and you can buy whatever you'd like off of there. But they have an amazing desiccated liver supplement. And all of their supplements on their website have all undergone testing to prove that they don't have any glyphosate. And the animal products that they have freeze-dried and put into capsules all are from grass-fed, healthy, happy animals. So check them out. The link is down below. But the liver is so important to support all the time, but especially when you're sick, because the liver is a sorter. Everybody thinks that it's a filter, and actually the liver is not a filter. If you look into what the filter does, it actually sorts toxins. It decides whether your toxins are going to go into your urine or into your poo. That is the role of the liver. And so what ends up happening is the liver is sorting toxins. It doesn't really decide only certain toxins. So a toxin is things from your environment, your food, etc. I get that. But on a whole nother level, as your body is fighting off illness and it's getting rid of toxins or viruses or bacteria, those things are going, when they're dead, they're going through your blood and through your liver to be filtered into either your pee or your poo. So that's extra filtration for the liver. So what ends up happening commonly, these are two really, really good signs that your liver is completely backed up. Number one, eye goop or eye infections, pink eye, or ear infections. Both of those infections are caused by a bacteria that is usually handled by the liver without a problem. And when the liver starts getting sluggish, you will see crusties inside the eye. That's how it usually starts. That is your warning sign your liver is slowing down. Another thing is that as your liver slows down, your cold and flu symptoms are going to explode. So you might go from just having a headache to all of a sudden now we have a runny nose and a cough, and then a sore throat, and then a really bad cough, and then et cetera, et cetera. It just keeps going. Maybe body aches. Those are all signs that the liver is overwhelmed by the amount of toxins. It can just envision your liver as a UPS or USPS sorting room. It can only go so fast, and so imagine when you're sick, it looks like Christmas in those sorting rooms. And so what ends up happening is it gets backed up, it gets released back into the blood, and the body has to push it out different ways. Same thing when you get hives, and if you get a fever and you get hives at the same time, the body is pushing the toxins out through the skin as fast as it possibly can. So we need to support the liver, and so one of the ways you can do that is through the desiccated liver. So like I said, that company, amazing. Down inside the link down to the description box below this video. And like I said, you can buy just a straight liver, and it's not inside the capsules, and it's just a powder, and I'm going to show you guys how to encapsulate it tonight. Super, super easy. Okay, love the liver pills. I cannot stand the taste. So interesting. Where did you learn this about the liver? So the liver is not a filter. I learned that a few years ago from Chris Masterjohn. He's here on the internet. You can look that on up. But also the liver backing up. That's all about herbalism. I actually have a friend who's a master. I have two people in my life who are both master herbalists, and they've both told me that those are the signs, and the liver has to handle all of those toxins when you're sick. And so if we can support the liver, you should be able to stop your cold. Is the liver pills better than fresh beef liver to eat? Depends on if you eat fresh beef liver. Some people can't stand the taste of liver, no matter how it's made or the texture of liver. So if you are one that you can, if you can eat it on a regular basis, 2 to 4 ounces, once or twice a week, then just eat your liver. But one benefit to the desiccated liver is it is freeze-dried raw liver. So all of the stuff is intact still within the capsules, whereas when you're cooking it, it's being cooked. So some of your properties that are beneficial do get destroyed in the cooking process, depending on how long you cook it. Usually when we cook liver here on the farm, we cook it till it's like medium rare, so it still runs pink when you slice it. But once again, there is a portion, maybe the outside of the chunk that did get destroyed inside the cooking process. So you just have to keep that in mind. I can only stand liver and bacon grease. Yes, liver and bacon and onions is the best way to eat liver, that's for sure. All right, so we talked about vitamin A. So why is vitamin A important? Vitamin A is what fuels your immune system's response. It's basically helps your cells to communicate quicker with one another. So we need vitamin A, which I just talked about was in cod liver oil. It's also in fish or shellfish. It's also in organ meats like liver, and it's also in grass-fed butter. Those are all amazing sources of vitamin A. Another important nutrient is vitamin D. So we need this because it's anti-cancerous, which is amazing, but also it protects us against illness. That's why we get sick less instead of the summer, because the sun is out, we got lots of vitamin D. So vitamin D is also in cod liver oil. It's in lard from grass-fed animals. It's in fish and shellfish. It's in organ meats like liver, butter fat, and egg yolks. Those are all really, really good place to get vitamin D. And just make sure that when you're sourcing those things like butter fat, egg yolks, lard, that those animals were out in the sunshine, so they converted sunshine into healthy fat for you to consume. Okay? That's awesome, Gretchen. She says we freeze dry our grass-fed livers. That's awesome. Another option is up here on the channel. I do have a video on how to make, they end up being raw liver chips. They're seasoned and they taste like a tortilla chip and they crunch like a tortilla chip. That is the way I get, well, my kids will eat liver and onions and bacon too. But they'll eat a whole beef liver in one sitting if I make them into chips. And then I have a nacho cheese sauce up here on the channel. We dip it in that and you can't even tell it's liver. It's just the way that I end up processing it that takes that liver tang out, and it's actually really enjoyable to eat. So check out that video here up here on the channel. It's the liver chips, I think is what I called it. Probably 20 or 30 videos down from the top. Okay, so let's talk about sugar consumption really quick. Why does everyone get sick in the winter? Well, number one, low vitamin D. Number two is sugar consumption. So the reason why sugar is so dangerous is because a sugar molecule and a vitamin C molecule look almost identical. And so sugar does not power the cell like vitamin C does. And so as you're consuming sugar, imagine each one of your immune system cells have like a key-shaped hole. So sugar fits into that key-shaped hole, but so does vitamin C. So if you're eating a lot of sugar around the holidays or in the winter, those key-shaped holes are going to be filled up with sugar, and therefore not going to be grabbing up as much vitamin C as they possibly could. So what ends up happening is sugar doesn't feed the cell, vitamin C feeds the cells. And so what ends up happening is those cells start to lose energy. And so what they say is sugar actually disables the immune system for up to 4 hours. So it's making your immune system lag for 4 hours every time you eat it. If you read a lot of labels these days, there's a lot of processed foods that have sugar in them. So watch your labels. And then vitamin C, that's really, really important as well. Your body needs 50 times the amount of vitamin C when you are sick. Good forms are things like liposomal vitamin C, and then of course food source vitamin C, like rose hips, acerola cherry, and then there's a really, really strong one called camu powder, and that's spelled C-A-M-U, it's like 2 words. And that's a fruit from the Amazon that's grown on trees. You don't have to worry about that one being grown organic. It's grown like through the river. And so they don't spray it. It's not fertilized. It's naturally fertilized by the Amazon flowing through it. And there's no bug problems because it's in the middle of a river. So anyway, basically camu is amazing. It's got like, I think it's 30 or 40 times the amount of vitamin C as an orange. So that's an amazing powder to get your hands on. Also getting vitamin C from organ meats. So once again, liver, guys. Fruits, and then if you, Take those things. Those are a really good thing to cover all of the bases. So I did mention earlier about processed foods and why we should be avoiding those. Those are also a holiday thing. I feel like holidays set all of us up just to be sick. So holidays, there's lots of preservatives in lots of the food. And one of the reasons why this is so dangerous is because you have something that's called macrophages all over your body. It's what protects your body. Okay? And there it's actually your first line of defense against illness. So it's the very, very first cell of your body that says, hey, we're under attack, and starts sending messages to the rest of your body that things need to be killed and detoxed and carried out. And so the dangerous thing with processed foods is that a lot of processed foods it has an ingredient called carrageenan in it. So it's C-A-R-R-A-G-E-E-N, carrageenan. Carrageenan is a thickener, and it's put in things like your canned cream of mushroom, cream of chicken, anything that you buy that's already thickened. It's in some salad dressings, okay? You're just going to have to read your labels, and it's an organic stuff too because it's allowed in organic stuff. So just be really careful what you're putting inside your body, because this carrageenan definitely, it totally kills and destroys all of your macrophages that it comes in contact with, okay? Yes, it's using the thickener, and then also other things like pesticides and that sort of thing is also linked to killing off your macrophages. So Gretchen says, where would we order the vitamin C from the Amazon? Okay, I will talk about that in just 1 second. Yeah, let's cover that right now. We'll do that right now. So we're going to talk capsules really quick, okay? So everyone needs to get their hands on one of these. It's called the Capsule machine, okay? So when you go to Google it, type in the Capsule machine. Don't type in, I want to buy a capsule machine, because you'll get an industrial $1,000 capsule machines. We don't want that. We want the $15 version for your home use. So type in the Capsule machine, and you're going to want this size, which is aught or 00, okay? You want to pay attention because there is 2 different sizes. This is a standard size of capsule, whereas there's just one that has 10, and that one's a smaller size capsule. So you want the aught size. So places that sell this is like Swanson Health right now has it for $12.59. I just looked it up before I got on here. Also Med Lab Supply has it for $18.95, a little more expensive. But the gist of it is you have 2 parts. It's very, very simple, guys. 2 parts. And you take your empty gelatin capsules and you split them into 2, and the larger side goes in the larger side. The smaller, shorter side goes in the smaller, shorter side. And then you take your powder, vitamin C or what have you, and you put it in here, and then you smush it down, and you just repeat that process until you can't smush it down any longer. And then you just flip this one over on top, and you smush it like this. And when you pull this off the top, all of your capsules are in the top. If you need a how-to video, I do have one up here. I believe I called it Herbal Pills 2 Ways. It's like my 4th video from like 4 or 5 years ago. But that's how this works. And like I said, swansonhealth.com has one of these for under $13 right now. And then as far as empty capsules go, you want to be careful where you buy those, because depending on what they're made out of, you have to be really careful with like vegetarian capsules. You have to be really careful with gelatin capsules, just from glyphosate. Can be in both of those things. So in the past, I've bought mine from Mountain Rose Herbs. That's a really clean place to buy. So that's mountainroseherbs.com. They are also going to sell things like rose hips powder, the vitamin C powder you asked about. They're also going to sell things like the Camu vitamin C powder. And then if you don't want to make your own capsules, the link down below for Perfect Supplements for the liver capsules, they also have capsules already made up with those vitamin C powders in them. So that link's down below, okay, if you don't want to make your own capsules. And really, capsules, it doesn't take that long to make them, but you're going to want like a good movie or something, so you can make like 100 of them or something in 30 minutes while you're listening to a podcast or watching a video. But if you're not into it, like I said, the link is down below for Perfect Supplements. They have all of the supplements already in capsules for you. All you got to do is click it and pay for it. So gelatin capsules, so I bought these on mountainroseherbs.com. And this actual package is from AmeriHerb International. They are a really, really good company to buy herbs from, and empty capsules. So this bag holds 1,000 capsules, and it was just under $12. And like I said, make sure you're checking your labels. It is the aught size. You don't want to order the ones that are too small because it will not work inside that machine. You want to make sure that they're both the same size, okay? So that's the gelatin capsules. And like I said, Mountain Rose herbs for the vitamin C powders that I just discussed, or the link down below to buy already made up capsules. But these capsules are nice because if you invest into the capsules and you invest inside the encapsulation machine, then you can buy the liver powder from the link down below. It comes in a tub and encapsulate it yourself and save a ton of money. Okay, so let's switch over to my top tinctures that I like. How about that? And then I'm going to switch the camera around and we're actually going to make the tinctures. I'm going to make all 3 versions of the tinctures right here live for you guys. Okay, so my number 1, well, I can't say number 1. These are all my number 1. I love them. So one of the things I highly recommend in people's cabinets is elderberry. You can buy dried elderberries from mountainroseherbs.com. I love mountainroseherbs.com because they have so many herbs available and it's all certified organic, which is awesome. Another place to buy herbs would be the Bulk Apothecary here online, or even Vitacost carries some of them. But for elderberry, you're looking for dried elderberries. I love this because it's high in vitamin C, it's high in antioxidants, and it's actually an effective treatment against AIDS, which is amazing. But elderberry is a natural antiviral, so helps to kill off viruses. So elderberry is definitely something cold and flu season, you need this, okay? And we're going to talk about where to get the fancy glass bottles and the droppers and all of that. That's all coming too. Okay, so this is not going to be in any certain order. The next one I'm going to talk about is mullein. You're welcome, Gretchen. Okay, so the next one is mullein. I love mullein. I love this. So, you know when your kids are coughing and coughing and coughing, or a spouse that's driving you nuts because they're coughing, 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 and it just seems like they have mucus way down deep into their lungs and they can't get it out? Mullein is your friend, okay? That's spelled M-U-L-L-E-I-N, mullein. This is a herbal mucinex. It helps to bring mucus out of the body. It works amazing. The next one that sometimes I use hand in hand with that is called lobelia. That's spelled L-O-B-E-L-I-A. Lobelia. And lobelia is for dry cough. So if your spouse is constantly coughing, or the kids, you know that like 2 or 3 a.m. cough in the middle of the night, mamas, okay? Where the kid is just like constantly coughing. And you're like, do I need to get out of bed and give them something? I can't sleep because they're coughing. It's driving me nuts. Or maybe the kid keeps waking up and it's just a dry, repetitive cough. You need some lobelia. Lobelia is amazing because it dilates the bronchial tubes inside your lungs. So it allows you to take a deeper breath and it eliminates dry, ineffective coughs, which is amazing. It also helps the lymphatic system to drain. And some midwives even use this for childbirth because it helps open things up, okay? So lobelia. This one, I have this on my herbal cabinet just for my son because his body actually prefers this over echinacea. Where is an echinacea? Here it is. Okay, so this one is for my son. We use it. It does the same thing as echinacea. It's just some people's bodies works better with something that's called astragalus root. Okay, I'm going to spell it for you. A-S-T-R-A-G-A-L-U-S root. So this is actually a combination. I mixed some herbs together. I did astragalus root and rose hips, which is a source of vitamin C. But this is an alternative to echinacea, which is my next herb that I love. So echinacea is amazing because it boosts the immune system by quickening the response between your cells as far as getting rid of toxins and viruses, bacteria. So echinacea is a must-have. It's a great thing to have on hand. It's a great thing to start if you think you're getting sick. That worked like a charm when I was sick 5 weeks ago. Mullein, yeah, stuff was coming up for days. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a rescuer too for all of the mamas out there. All your kids get sick, and you're just at your wit's end. Okay. So this last one was not originally part of my herbal cabinet until 2020. So for that illness that came about 2020, I have wormwood inside my cabinet. Okay? This is wormwood. We actually harvested it off of our farm. And wormwood is an anti-parasitic, but it is effective against the illness that all of a sudden showed up in 2020. So basically you start taking it, you stay on it for 4 weeks, and this stuff is amazing. I used it when I had that certain thing that came around in 2020. And it works amazing. It's just a really, really good thing. It's a herbal form of ivermectin. Okay, so it's a great thing to have on hand, especially these days. Okay, and then there's one more thing that I actually don't have in my herbal cabinet right now, but it's amazing. Like if you just want to make one tincture that would help with any cold or flu, it is called Double E, like the letter E, Immune Booster, and it's sold on, it's sold on bulkherbstore.com. Bulk Herb Store has some herbs there. They don't have the selection that they used to have, which is why I typically go to Mountain Rose Herbs. But Mountain Rose Herbs does not sell this particular mix. So I actually started making it when I first got into making tinctures, and I would make one and I would send a little bottle inside my husband's lunchbox. And the second he started feeling like maybe he's getting sick, he would start on it, and it works amazing. It has elderberry and echinacea and a wide variety of all the herbs I just listed off. It doesn't have any mullein or lobelia, but it has a lot of immune boosting herbs. And if you start taking it as soon as you feel like you're getting sick, you can pretty much lick almost anything. So that was called Double E Immune Booster. And it's actually a tea on their website, but right in the description it says that you can take it and make herbal tinctures, which is what we're going to do tonight. So that is a must-have, especially if you're just getting started. It makes it so easy. And like I said, we're going to talk about the little dropper bottles, because you can equip yourself and carry it inside your purse and take it to work with you, or in my husband's case, his lunchbox. And the second you start feeling sick, you can start taking it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about kitchen herbs really, really quick. I promise we're going to get around to making tinctures. I'm just trying to get all the information out there. You know, I'm probably overwhelming a lot of you, but if you have any questions, put it in the comments and I'll answer them. Okay, so for kitchen herbs for illness, we've got garlic. Okay, so one way to take garlic is through fermenting it in honey. This is 2 years old, I think. No, it's like a year and a half old. So to make this is super easy. I have a video up here on the channel. It's called fermented honey garlic, I think, or garlic honey. All it is a whole bunch of peeled garlic cloves that have been submerged in honey, and you just let it sit. And you come back in, I think it's 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and then you take it. So why garlic is so amazing is because garlic is the strongest antibiotic on the planet. Not even the stuff you can get from the doctor is more powerful than garlic. And so your options to take garlic are either you can take it raw, you can peel it and chop it into pieces and swallow them, but make sure you have something in your stomach because that can be very, very irritating. Or you can do the honey garlic. The benefit to honey garlic is that as it ferments, the honey takes on the garlic flavor and the garlic takes on the honey flavor. So it actually becomes like sweet and not so like fiery and in your face like garlic typically is. So that's an amazing remedy to have on hand. When we start getting sick, that comes down and everybody just has a garlic clove with their meal. It really helps you if you're fighting sinus infections or any other sort of infection. You can take up to 4 cloves a day. Usually I say start with 2, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. But if you're really sick and you need something to turn around quickly, 2 in the morning and 2 at night isn't a bad idea. Just make sure you take it with food. The next kitchen herb would be onion. I primarily use onion for something that's called an onion poultice. So I would chop up an onion, I would steam it inside a pot just until that onion begins to soften. And then I would stick it in one of my herbal rags. These are all stained up from making tinctures. So don't judge, it's just tincture stuff, okay? But I would put the onion inside one of these rags and then kind of ball it up and go ahead and put a rubber band around this and then put it directly on the skin. Obviously, if it's way too hot, don't put it on your skin, but ease yourself into it. What this does is that the properties inside the onion get warmed up and actually goes through your skin, and it helps to relax your lungs. So if you have a persistent cough that mullein and lobelia are not helping with, an onion poultice really, really helps to relax things in that region and work to get the mucus out. I used that with my mole when I was sick. Yes, Gretchen, absolutely. Okay, and then one thing to note is that onions and garlic combined is the only proven treatment for MRSA. So if you don't know what MRSA is, it's like a flesh-eating thing you can get when you're inside the hospital. The doctors really don't have much that can battle it, but as of like 3 or 4 years ago, the only proven treatment was onions and garlic, which is amazing. I'm sure that pharmaceuticals will try and get a hold of something out of onions and garlic and come up with something, but that was the only proven treatment at the time. The one last thing I want to add to the basic herbal cabinet is, yes, garlic is good for ear infections too. You can slice a garlic clove and slide it into your ear and leave it overnight. That's great. You can make a garlic oil, which is all discussed in, hang on, let me show you. This book right here is the one that talks about how to make oils and stuff and infuse. But once again, remember that you're treating the symptom in that and that we need to address the liver. So make sure your child is getting plenty of liver one way or the other and liver support. Another way to support the liver is to drink dandelion root tea, which tonight we're going to be making a dandelion root tincture. My husband and I recently did a dandelion root liver cleanse. And he noticed a huge difference in his varicose veins in his legs. Typically, he has really painful varicose veins that are popping out of his skin. And within 3 days of doing the dandelion root tea cleanse for your liver and taking milk thistle, those varicose veins went from bulging out of his legs to barely noticeable. It went down to spider veins, which is basically what you get before you get your bulging varicose veins. So he needs to stay on some liver support. So we're actually going to make him a tincture tonight as a group. It'll be kind of fun. Okay, so one more thing, last thing for your herbal cabinet is activated charcoal. This is a mother's best friend. We take this at the first sign of anyone having any sort of stomach upset. Diarrhea, you ate out, maybe it wasn't such good food, or maybe there's a flu thing going around the home. This stuff is totally safe to take at the first sign of something is not right inside my stomach. The sooner you take it, the better. If you wait to take activated charcoal until you're almost going to throw up, you will throw up the activated charcoal. By then, the toxins have made it into your stomach. And so what happens is the charcoal goes down, it goes into your stomach, it absorbs those toxins, and then your body wants it out, which is why you end up throwing this up. So the goal would be is even if you throw this up to take more, we're going to try and get it through the entire system to absorb all the toxins within your GI tract and come out the other end. So this is really, really important stuff to have on hand. If you're going to give it to children, you can mix this up in some applesauce. It does turn the applesauce black, but it has no taste, you guys. You could put it in juice. It'd be black juice, but it has no taste. So it's actually pretty easy to get in kids. It's black, but it still tastes good. So that's the last thing as part of the herbal cabinet. And we're going to go to the next section here. Did I miss a comment? Hang on. Okay, my mom used to put it in a cotton pillowcase. They lay it on our chest for croup. Yep, onions are really, really powerful. Okay, so onward. So we already discussed where to buy herbs from. But in order to buy these bottles, you can buy them from Mountain Rose Herbs, which is one of the places that I listed off for the actual herbs. They have tiny sizes. If you have kids at all, the smallest I would recommend is like a 2-ounce size bottle, which is right here. I have 5 children. We'll blow through a 2-ounce size bottle with one illness. So I have a lot of mine in the 4-ounce size bottle. So on Mountain Rose Herbs, a 2-ounce size bottle for a 6-pack of these with glass droppers is only $7.25, so super cheap. And you want to make sure you buy the amber colored because this protects the tincture against sunlight. Herbs lose their medicinal purposes very, very fast when they're exposed to sunlight, so you want to make sure you get amber. You also want to make sure that you get a glass dropper for the inside. The reason why is because particularly when you're using, you make a vodka tincture, which we're going to do in a few minutes here, the vodka will slowly eat away at the plastic. And so you want to make sure you have glass, and mountainroseherbs.com does sell glass droppers with their glass bottles, okay? So this is a 2-ounce size, 6 of these for $7.25. And then the larger size, which I love because I have 5 children, and this will last us a couple of months of illnesses, is $9.25 for a case of 6 of these bottles. So very, very affordable. Let's do the Bulk Apothecary carries some of this stuff too. And then we want to make sure that we're storing all of our tinctures away from light, whether they are already made up. This is like a refill container. This is just a canning jar with a lid, but I store this in a dark cabinet away from light because it's obviously a clear glass jar. And then all of my tinctures are in my medicine cabinet, so they're also away from light, but they do have the amber just in case. All right, so let's talk about really, really quick what the difference is between leaves and roots, because there's a big difference. Let me just show you one example. So, a lot of people, when I say dandelion root tea, they think of this stuff. Dandelion leaf and root, okay? Trying to decide if I should go out and tell my dog to be quiet. It's kind of annoying listening to him bark for an hour. Anyway, the problem with this product, okay, is that it has both dandelion leaf and root in it. That's the problem. So leaves are great for steeping. So when you're going to make a tea, leaves are amazing. And when you're buying, when you're going to buy like a powder to put it in the capsules, you can put it in capsules, you could use it in tinctures, or you could take it as a tea. The medicinal value is the same across all of those forms. But roots, like what a dandelion root is, okay, those they must be simmered for 30 minutes in order to get all the medicinal value out, and they are best taken in a tincture form, which is what we're going to be making tonight. So you can see why you wouldn't want to mix leaves and roots in one product, because in order to get the medicinal quality out of the root, you're going to have to simmer it for 30 minutes, which is going to destroy absolutely everything out of the leaf. Whereas if you just steep it, the leaf properties will be amazing, but the root, you will not be unlocking any of the root medicinal properties, okay? So that's why I don't typically buy this. My husband bought this a while back, and I just kind of laughed because either way, it's a mix, and either way, you're going to lose half of what you just paid for. So just make sure to remember that leaves and roots should not be together. They should not be together in teas. The processing and the extracting of the medicinal stuff is different, okay? Another thing to keep in mind is when you're buying dry herbs to make tinctures, leaves weigh a lot less than roots. So 5 ounces or 8 ounces of roots will probably be about enough to make a pint-sized jar of tincture, whereas 8 ounces of leaves, you could probably make 8 pints of that same tincture. So just keep that in mind as you're ordering. The actual amount on the website is by weight, not by volume. Okay, and then also keep in mind that as you're ordering those things to make tinctures, which we're just about to do, make sure that you're not buying any more than what you can make into tinctures within 1 year. Dried herbs, after 1 year of storage, go down, their medicinal qualities go down very, very quickly. And so we want to make sure that we're turning them all into tinctures or utilizing them in teas, etc., within 1 year of purchase. So don't stock up too much. Okay, so what is a tincture? Tinctures are a liquid extract, and it helps to concentrate the medicinal values of an herb and put it in a liquid. So if you've ever made like a liquid vanilla extract with vanilla beans, that's a form of an extract, and usually people use vodka to do that. So you're basically making a vanilla bean tincture. So I'm going to show you how to do all of that. And then another reason why you would want to make your own is that when you buy, like I discussed earlier, when you pay a herbalist for 4 ounces of echinacea, it goes for $40. Whereas if you make this bottle yourself and buy the bottle and you get the cute little the tincture droplets glass and you make the tincture and fill this up, it's only $15. So So way, way, way more affordable. Okay, so how do tinctures work? Let's talk about that. So tinctures help to signal the immune system to carry out more of an immune response and a detox than it normally would on its own. So basically the tinctures are supporting healthy detox pathways, and a lot of the herbs are high in antioxidants and vitamin C, which helps you to detox and move the illness out. Okay, so then tincture solvents. We're gonna do all three of these tonight. I'm gonna show you all three. There are three options for making a tincture. And the first one is alcohol. So I'm gonna be using Smirnoff tonight. It does not say 100% or 80 proof vodka, but that's what you're looking for. And if you Google it, the number 21 is indeed 80 proof vodka. You want at least 100 or at least 80. If you can get 100, great, proof vodka. Okay. So the benefit to this is that it lasts generations, hundreds of years. It's good forever. In the olden days, they used to pass vodka tinctures on to the next generation. Okay, so this is the first option, and it's the best option for extracting medicinal properties from herbs is vodka. It's not the only option though. The next option is glycerin. Okay, we're going to talk about glycerin here in a second. So glycerin is a sweet substance. It does not raise your blood sugar at all. The tinctures that you make will last up to 3 years. But we really, really have to make a wise decision on where you buy your food grade glycerin from. Because glycerin can be made from coconut oil, corn oil, soy oil, or palm oil. So obviously I'm not going to stand behind making a tincture out of glycerin that's been made out of soy or corn, because those could both be GMO and sprayed. But also, glycerin can be a byproduct of the biodiesel engineering sector. So obviously you wouldn't want to make your medicine out of that either. So I recommend buying your vegetable glycerin that's food grade off of mountainroseherbs.com. The other place that sells it is the Bulk Apothecary. They both sell very good versions of the vegetable glycerin. But this doesn't last as long on your shelf. Like I said, it's not good indefinitely like the vodka. It's only good for 3 years. You could also mix this 50-50 with vodka, like make one tincture with echinacea with vodka and one tincture with glycerin and echinacea in it. And you can mix the two and do a 50-50. That's fine as well. And it does extend the life a little bit on your glycerin tinctures, but that's glycerin. And then the final one that we're going to make tonight, bear with me, we're still going. We're in an hour into it, we're going to get this done. Okay, the third option is vinegar. For people who don't want to use vodka, and for people who aren't big fans of glycerin, which I used to be a huge fan of glycerin, and then I found out that it coats your teeth, and it's kind of hard to get it off of your teeth, and then your saliva can't remineralize your teeth. So that's why we make homemade toothpaste here on the farm, is because a lot of the toothpaste that you buy that are commercial have glycerin in them. And so every time you're brushing your teeth, it's coating your teeth with glycerin, which then prevents your, like I said, your saliva to remineralize your teeth, and your teeth need those minerals. So I don't typically use this anymore. I only was using it when I had babies, okay, and they can't handle the vodka because it burns. But basically, I don't use this much anymore. This will stay good though indefinitely as long as I keep it in a cool, dark place. So just in case there's any babies down the road or something, I'll have glycerin. Or if I want to make homemade liquid stevia extract, you use glycerin for that as well. Okay, sorry, back to the apple cider vinegar. The third option for your tinctures is raw apple cider vinegar. You're going to want to invest in organic for the same reasons why we want to make sure that our glycerin is coming from a good source. You want to avoid GMOs, you want to avoid glyphosate, all of those pesticides in your medicine. Spend a little bit of extra money and have clean medicine, okay? So this is Bragg's apple cider vinegar. Another great place to get apple cider vinegar in bulk is AzureStandard.com. They sell amazing apple cider vinegar as well. When you make a tincture using apple cider vinegar, it lasts just 1 year. So 1 year shelf life. After that, the apple cider vinegar does not preserve the tinctures well enough to make them effective. So that's the difference between all of those. So as far as selecting what you need at your home, you need to sit down and think about what illnesses you typically get each year, what the symptoms of those illnesses are, and then find the herbs that treat those illnesses. It's going to be different for everybody, but like I said, I've already gone over my tinctures that were my basic family herbal cabinet, just the things that we struggle with. We usually get coughs and congestion and that sort of thing. And then once again, diet is huge as far as staying healthy, making sure we're supporting the liver and the body with nutrient-dense foods. That's all very, very important. And then also, if you want to take a step further, you can look into all the medicinal herbs that are for common health ailments. But I would also strongly encourage you to also go to www.westinaprice.org and look at their website, type in your illness into the search box, and see what articles come up from alternative doctors talking about nutrition and how you can impact your health and your illnesses with just nutrition. Because once again, tinctures might help your symptoms, but they are not healing you like food can. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and make these 3 tinctures really quick. Oh, I want to talk about one more thing, and that is taking the tinctures, okay? So you're going to load it up. Let's see, I'll take something. I'll take some echinacea, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze the dropper, and then you can count drops. I know that this dropper has about 30 drops in it, so I'm just going to put it underneath my tongue. Okay, and you're supposed to hold it underneath your tongue for 30 seconds. And the reason why is because underneath your tongue is that, if you look, there's a vein that runs underneath your tongue. And the skin between that vein and the outside world is so thin. And so when you put the tincture underneath your tongue and you hold it there for 30 seconds, the medicinal properties of these tinctures go right into your bloodstream. So that is the quickest way to take a tincture. Second way to take a tincture would be to put it like in a tea and drink it. But once again, you're going to be swallowing it. It's going to go into your stomach and have to go through a total different pathway. So if you can hold it underneath your tongue for 30 seconds, you'll get much quicker results. When you take tinctures or herbs in general, you should notice some sort of a difference within 30 minutes of taking them. Typically, if you're going to take tinctures that are immune boosters, you're going to notice that you feel much more like crud after you get done taking them. And it's going to sound funny, but a lot of us associate feeling sicker with swollen lymph nodes, pressure inside our sinuses. And those are actually signs that the lymphatic system has backed up. So we usually do a lymphatic massage. You guys can look on YouTube here for videos on how to do a lymphatic massage. But what I'm trying to say is the reason why you feel cruddier after you get done taking a tincture is because your immune system is winning. And so there's tons of garbage that needs to come out. It's just a sign that things are getting backed up. You need your liver support, do a lymphatic massage, maybe drink some water with a little bit of lemon juice in it to help with lymph flow. Maybe take a little bit of lobelia, which also helps with lymph flow, and get things moving again. So that's a total natural response to taking herbs. So don't get confused when you go to take your tinctures for the first time that you feel like you're getting sicker. It's actually your body trying to clear everything else out at once because it's winning, okay? All right, so let's see. Another important thing, one more important thing with herbs is that you start early. So there's no harm in taking herbs if you think you're getting sick. Our minds are so wrapped around like you can't take aspirin unless you have a headache. Because that's the way pharmaceuticals work. You don't take them unless you have to. Whereas with herbs, these are not harmful to the body, so there's no disadvantage to starting herbs early before your symptoms take off and you're really, really sick. The other advantage is when you're boosting your liver, if you can keep your liver going and you're taking the liver powder, that you can keep that liver flowing and be able to battle through the illness and the detox much easier because you have liver support. Okay, and then as far as dosage, really, really quick, this is just my personal dosage for babies. As far as tinctures for immune support, I only give them 1 drop. And then once they're like a toddler, 2 drops, 3 drops. Children 7 and under, so about the age of, so 3 to 7, 10 drops. Kids 7 to 12, 15 drops. 12 to 18, around 20 drops. And then 18 and up, I just give them all 30 drops, which is one of these nice when you squeeze it, it only fills up about halfway. And that all goes underneath the tongue for those age groups. Okay, let's make a tincture, shall we? I'm going to move my laptop out of the way here. Hang on one second. Had all my notes on the laptop, so I wouldn't forget anything. Adjust you guys down a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. Is that far enough? Did we make it? Oh, we made it. Oh, good, we made it. Okay, guys. Okay, so for tonight's tincture, because I'm going to make it 3 different ways, I'm going to have pint-sized jars. You sure could use quarts. Okay. I'm going to open up my herb here really quick. So I bought this from Vitacost. This is dandelion root. Like I said, this is for liver support. All right. So the rule is if you're making a tincture and you are using a dried herb, we are going to fill the jar to the halfway mark approximately. If you're using a fresh herb, if I were to go outside and dig up dandelion root and I was going to make a tincture out of it, I would obviously clean the root first, and then I would fill my jar all the way to the top, okay? And that is the same for all 3 tinctures. See if I can make a really big mess doing this. So I'm just going to fill the tincture side by side here. Okay, about halfway. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm going to grab some lids. I'll be right back. I gotta dig through my lid container. I had everything else ready except for lids. Alright, 1 lid. I always save all my old canning lids for stuff like this. 2. And 3. Oh, I'm not gonna use that one. That was kind of rusty. Get a different one. Okay, and 3. Alright, so we will make the vinegar and vodka tincture at the same time. The reason why is because the process is exactly the same. In this jar I have filtered water. So the goal is to always not exceed 40% water in these tinctures. What we're going to do is we're just going to add a little bit of water. And then we're going to shake our jar around. And what this is doing is it's preparing the herbs. That was probably less than a tablespoon of water. We're going to prepare the herbs to release their medicinal qualities, okay? So we're just looking for the herbs inside to be damp. I don't know if you guys can even see that. With leaves, it kind of looks like cow cud, you know, when they're chewing their cud. It's like, you know, hay that's already been chewed. Okay, so we're looking for just it to be damp. Like I said, you could do this in a quart-sized jar as well. We're just looking for damp, okay? Water to make it damp. Okay, so now this is where it's going to get different. I'm going to be putting Smirnoff vodka in 1. And I'm going to shake this one around. Okay, that one's done. That's how easy it is, guys. And this one is going to be a vinegar tincture using apple cider vinegar. Once you guys see how easy this is, it like totally empowers you to go make your own, which is so cool. So in with the apple cider vinegar. I'm going to shake it. Okay. A little bit comes out of my lids. All right. So these two both sit at room temperature out of the sunlight for 6 weeks. Okay. And then they're done. So after 6 weeks, what I would do is I would take a jar. I'm not going to do it right now because obviously it's not done. I'm going to take a jar and a funnel. And I take one of these tea towels that I have designated for herbs, all stained on up already. And I would take this jar, I take the lid off, and I dump it through here and allow the liquid to come through the bottom. The herbs can be composted at that time. And then what you have left as liquid is your tincture. So this can get put into these cute little bottles with labels that you can make yourself. And then any excess stuff, put a lid on your canning jar and make sure you store it away from the light. But both of these sit for 6 weeks. I better label this one so I know it's vinegar. Because the vinegar one is only good for 1 year. So I'll have my husband start on that one first. I'm just going to make a note with the date and what it is so that I know in 6 weeks these are done. If I had a working pen, that would help. Today's the 17th. The first time I made herbs, I didn't label anything, and believe me, you will not remember which one is which in 6 weeks because they will all look the same. The liquids begin taking on the dark color of, in this case, the dandelion root, and you won't be able to tell. Once you get to a point where you've been taking, wait, that's not the vodka one, hang on. Ha, I almost messed up. Once you've been taking tinctures for a while, you can recognize the smell of each of the herbs in the tincture form. But even then, I would rather have it labeled and know what it is for sure than not know. All right, so those are just going to sit and they'll be ready in 6 weeks. This last way to make a tincture is with glycerin. Okay, it's called a glycerite. And one benefit to a glycerite is that it's ready in 3 days. So you don't have to wait. I'm just going to check comments. You don't have to wait the 6 weeks. Okay, so this is done much, much sooner, just 3 days. So same process. I have filtered water. We're going to just dampen the herbs with about a tablespoon if I had to guess. We're going to shake it. Okay. And then glycerin is super, super thick. It's like a thick maple syrup. So I'm going to fill this jar up as much as I can, and then we're going to have to shake and tap the jar on the counter to get it to kind of bubble down. And I'm going to want to leave about 1 inch headspace on the glycerin. So only go to the bottom rim right here of your canning jar, because this needs to go in a slow cooker or crock pot for 3 days. So I'm just going to shake it. I'm going to open it back up, and you guys can see that that's fallen down a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit more glycerin. Okay. I'm going to go grab my Instant Pot and I'll show you guys how to set that up. Okay. I'm grabbing a rag that I'm okay with it getting stained, because a lot of times your glycerites will overflow inside your slow cooker a little bit. And if you use a white rag, I can guarantee you that by the end of that, it will not be white anymore. So, we're going to open up our Instant Pot. You can also use a slow cooker on low function. What we're going to do is we're going to place a rag in the bottom. This is just for anti-shattering purposes. And we're going to put our jar in here. Now I have actually made quart-size tinctures inside my Instant Pot before. It just depends on how tall your jars are. And then we're going to take some non-filtered water. And we're going to fill up our Instant Pot or slow cooker until the water reaches the halfway point on our jar, okay? So the jar will be halfway submerged. Okay. Needs a little bit more water. Okay. So I'm just going to put my lid back on. And then if this was plugged in, I would just select the keep warm button, which is down here on the lower right hand side of your panel. And I would set the timer for as big as you possibly can because this needs to be in here for 3 days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little label on here that says what's in there and that it needs to stay in until, let's see, 3 days would be Monday night. So I'm just going to write done Monday night and stick it up here. It doesn't have to be an exact on the hour. And then I know this is done. You could also use a slow cooker. You would want to put it on warm or low, depending on your cooker. So there's that. And then this will be ready to go. I'm going to move it over to my other counter so I can plug it in. There, I set it, and that's all there is to it. Isn't that something? So easy. Use glycerin if I need tinctures quickly, like within 3 days. I don't already have in stock. But it sure is nice to have every single tincture or type of tincture in vodka because it does keep forever. You don't have to worry about it expiring like you do the glycerin. Glycerin, like I said, is only good for 3 years. And the vinegar is only good for 1 year. So it's nice to have kind of like a backup herbal cabinet all with vodka, so you know you'll always have it on hand. It never goes bad. And that's that. I think I missed a comment. Let's see about it. Okay, hang on. I've missed lots of comments. Sorry, guys. Jenny, I gotta go put kiddos to bed. Can't wait to watch the replay. Sure, Jenny. Gretchen says, love that stuff. I use duct tape on the jars. Oh, to label them? That's a good idea. Okay, Susan says, hubby is a type 1 diabetic. Well, diet for sure. I can look inside my book. I actually don't have any experience with that, but I will look inside this book and look it up for you real quick. Fats are so important to a diabetic. I don't know if you know that or not, but it really helps balance blood sugar. So a diet that's higher in fat. My mom was actually, she's a type 2 diabetic, so a little bit different, but she was actually able to almost get completely off of her diabetic medication. She was on a dose that's like right before insulin, and she was able to lower that dose almost completely off that medication just by eating more fats and more proteins. We're on keto. Yes, you got it. Okay, so let me look up diabetes. Let's see what my book has to say. My book is actually like falling apart. Let's see. Diabetes. Okay, it's got a section for you. Okay. So it has a ton of suggestions in here. I'm just going to show you the pages. So I'm not going to read it all to you, but I would definitely get this book. So it says for diabetes, regulate blood sugar, restore proper function to the pancreas, heal, let's see, I'm trying to skim read it, so read it all. So it just lists off like, there's like there's like 3 herbal combinations that they recommend, and it's a mixture of things. So they're saying like golden seal is a natural insulin, juniper berries are high in insulin. There's like several of these herbs that's listing off that are high in insulin. And And this is all something that you could take, but you also need vitamin A, high in vitamin A. So we're talking liver and we're talking cod liver oil, as well as vitamin C and E and zinc to protect against free radical damage. With minerals. And try to look and see what the second combination is. Oh, dandelion. So what we just made tonight. So dandelion root is recommended because that's into your pancreas. That's recommended. You need to strengthen the pancreas, spleen, liver. I'm skimming now, so just give me a second. Pancreas, spleen, liver, and support the hormonal system. It's the same thing with the third herbal combination. Support liver, spleen, gallbladder. So yeah, liver, if you're not already taking liver capsules, I would put them on liver capsules. Like I said, I have a link down below for those. And then maybe look into making some dandelion products. Either a tea, which my husband and I were making. It just takes time to make tea, so I'm making tinctures for him because then he can just squirt it in his mouth and I don't have to do tea. Jackie, you're still here. That's awesome. What was that root that you used? How much leaves in the jar if you use leaves? So, what was that? Oh, dandelion root. That's the one I used tonight. So dandelion is amazing because it helps with bile production, with your gallbladder. It helps liver filtration. So if you're sick, drinking dandelion root tea is really, really great. Helps to flush the liver. And also it's really, really good for your pancreas. So what I made tonight was dandelion root tinctures for my husband because he has varicose veins and we've noticed a huge difference in them. And he feels amazing on dandelion root. So, but I've also used this up until now to make tea. And so what I would do is I just bought the dandelion root. I bought this on vitacost.com. This is a whole pound of organic dandelion root. And what we did was we measured it out and put 3 teaspoons of dandelion root per 8 ounces of water. I also put a 1-inch chunk of ginger, like fresh ginger that's been peeled, inside the pot as well, and a little bit of cinnamon. And I simmered that because cinnamon is a bark, and ginger is a root, and dandelion is a root, so it needs to be simmered for 30 minutes. So I'd simmer it for 30 minutes, and then I put a cover on it, remove it from heat, let it cool down, and then he would drink that. And I did that with him for an entire month, and you feel amazing afterwards. Your body just feels so much lighter after helping your liver along. But you can also, like I said, like I did tonight, I made a tincture with dandelion root. It's commonly known as bitters, digestive bitters, because it does help with your digestive tract. They usually put a couple of other ingredients in there as well, but usually the main thing is dandelion root. And then what was your second question? And how much leaves in the jar if you use leaves? So if you use leaves, doesn't matter if you use leaves or roots, you're going to be filling your jar halfway, unless it's fresh leaves or roots. If it's fresh leaves or roots, you're going to go all the way full, and don't add any water in the beginning because those are fresh. They already have water content in them, so there's no need to make it look like cow cud. Just have your fresh leaves and your fresh roots and add either your vodka or your apple cider vinegar or your glycerin right to the jar. But there's no difference in volume as far as dried leaves or dried roots or fresh leaves or fresh roots. So dried's halfway, fresh is all the way to the top. Okay. The other thing I was going to recommend, I don't remember who commented about the type 1, Susan, I think it was, type 1 diabetes, is I would get on www.westinaprice.org. They have like a little search bar at the very, very top. Type in type 1 diabetes. There'll be a whole bunch of articles that come up with natural solutions that will help. A lot of times they have links down at the bottom to all of the resources where they got their information from and or places to buy things. So, but definitely start out, if you're not already, supplementing with liver powder, liver capsules. I would start there and then liver support for sure. But this book has a huge long list of things that you could try for type 1 diabetes, okay? But definitely diet, which you said you're already on keto. So that's where I would start there. Okay, Jackie says, why glycerin for stevia? So you can make stevia with vodka. You can make it with apple cider vinegar. But if you make stevia extract with apple cider vinegar, it's going to taste apple cider vinegary when you go to sweeten your things. And with vodka, you sure could do stevia with vodka. The only problem would be is that you'd want to make sure you're using that stevia in baked goods because you want the alcohol to cook off because it's going to be spicy, like you're taking a shot, you know, from a vodka glass. So you wouldn't want to use that liquid stevia in anything that you would eat fresh that's not going to be warmed up high enough for the alcohol to cook off, but you sure could use vodka if you'd like. I usually was using glycerin. Like I said, through my whole like healing my teeth journey, I have discontinued using glycerin because it's in my mind now that it's coating my teeth and I'm going to have to brush my teeth 27 times to get it off. And I'm kind of paranoid about glycerin right now. So I actually don't even use, I had a whole quart-sized jar, a big jar full of homemade stevia that I can't convince myself to use. I mean, that might be being a little bit anal, especially if you only use like a half teaspoon or 2 or 3 teaspoons and you're making a huge batch of something, you're not going to get very much. But it's just in my mind that it coats my teeth, so it's something I'm trying to avoid right now. So you sure could use the vodka, just make sure that you're going to cook it off so it doesn't burn you in the mouth. Are there any other questions before we jump off tonight? I know this is a ton of information. If you need me to show another book or something, they're all right here. I could show you or discuss authors, or if you have any other questions on where to buy stuff, I'm totally here for you. And like I said, I make all of my own capsules, and that company that I have linked below, they have in bulk the liver powder. It comes in a tub, and if you buy one of those capsule machines and empty capsules, you can totally save a ton of money on liver capsules if you eat it or take it this way, eat it this way. You're looking at about, 8 to 12 capsules a day, which is a lot. And so when you're trying to save money, this is an amazing way to go. But you can do rose hips or kemu kemu. Those are amazing things to buy as a powder. So Susan says, yes, please show the books again. And Sharon said, if you could get only one book, which one would it be? Ooh, that's going to be really hard. I could limit it down to 2 books. Because if you could only buy one, yeah, it's going to be a tie between these two. I'm just being honest. This one has a ton of how to make your own concoctions and stuff, and the basic herbal cabinet in here. It goes over dandelion and calendula and thyme and all sorts of things that you can make, and how to make them and how to do solar infused oils, all sorts of things. This is amazing, okay? But I feel like if anyone's ever going to get into herbs, they really need, this is like your dictionary. And because it has all of like we had that question about type 1 diabetes, I was able to go to the back, to the dictionary, to the spot in the back there, the index, and look up type 1 diabetes and have 3 different herbal solutions, how to make it, it's all in here. So, basically with this and the list of herbs, then you could go to something like this and figure out how to make your tinctures the best way possible. So definitely these 2. So one of them is Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs, a Beginner's Guide. I know Amazon has this one, guys, but check your used places, your thriftbooks.com, your abebooks.com, all of those used bookstores, okay? Used books are so easy to find because people buy books and they have good intentions, and then they move or they're decluttering and they get rid of it because they haven't used it yet. And then this other one that's a must-have would be Today's Herbal Health by Louise Tenney, Master Herbalist. And I believe this one's on Amazon as well. At least it was when my brother bought it for me like 11 years ago. And this is the dictionary one. So then the other optional ones would be this one, which like I said, I don't really use this one. It's a Rosemary Glad Stars, make your own herbal everything, shampoo, etc. It's fun to have, but I haven't used it much. And the last herbal one in particular is Homegrown Herbs. This is for growing your own herbs if you want to go there and start growing your own stuff, by Tanny Hartog. And something that you should know is, like, if you're going to start growing it, grow it several years before you need it. Because, for example, echinacea, which is your immune booster, okay, it takes that plant, that flower, 3 years before you can harvest a root. So it like takes time. So you'd have to plant something now on some of these and let it grow until you could harvest. And then the other 2 additional books that I recommend every parent has: How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor. Very, very important book. Okay, goes over all of the childhood illnesses and what to fear and what not to fear. This is before the medical system took the illnesses, and there's not much fear in this book. So the fear is removed and kind of walks you through treatments. Okay, very important. And then the second book to get, if you're a parent, must have, or if you know someone who's going to have a baby, makes great gifts, is the Nourishing Traditions Book of Baby and Child Care by Sally Fallon Morell and Dr. Thomas Cowan. And this one, once again, goes over nutrition. It talks about all of the choices you have to make when you're pregnant. It talks about all of the choices you have to make when your baby is born. It's just an amazing resource. It goes over all of the childhood illnesses and what to do. Okay, so echinacea. The question was, is echinacea only root or also leaf? So echinacea can be a combination of roots and leaves. Typically, if you're going to make a really good echinacea tincture, you want to buy both leaves and roots and put them both inside your tincture. Now, like I said before, if you're after a tea, you would never want to buy root of echinacea and leaves of echinacea, put them inside the same pot and simmer or just steep them, because one of them you're not going to get the benefits. So if you're going to make a tea, I would have 2 pots going. The one with the roots in it, you'd be simmering for 30 minutes, and the one with the leaves, you'd just be steeping, and then you can combine them at the end. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but at least then you know you're getting everything you need. But with tinctures, you can totally put the leaves and the roots right into this jar, fill it up halfway. So a quarter of the jar would be leaves, quarter would be roots. Add your tincture liquid of choice, and then let it sit. And when it's done, you just strain it out, and you have a full echinacea tincture with all the benefits of both the leaves and the roots. Same thing with like elderberry. Those leaves are medicinal, the bark's medicinal, that kind of thing. So you just have to look. They each have a different use, though. But yes, with echinacea, you want both leaves and roots when you're making your tincture. With wormwood, that's just the leaves. You don't harvest the root with wormwood, that I know of anyway. Lobelia is all leaves. Mullein is all leaves. If you guys Google what mullein looks like, let me see if I can get a picture. Hang on a second. A lot of you guys are going to say, oh my gosh, I've seen that. Like, I'm serious. It's everywhere. I'm going to reference this book really quick. We're going to look up mullein. Here it is. Okay, so how many of you guys have seen that plant? See that? It starts out like it's like nature's toilet paper, and then it gets super tall, and it has yellow flowers at the top. Okay? That's mullein. Is a close-up of the yellow flower. And so that is the leaves of the plant. And that's the one that was effective against mucus, clearing mucus out of the lungs. But like, I love this book once again because it talks about in here about how if you see a mullein and the top is split like a fork, not to use it because it's been infected with heavy metals. So it just has like a lot of information, but like not too deep to overwhelm you. Has nice colorful pictures and a how-to of what to use it and how to make it into tinctures, etc. So that's really, really important. So there's like, when it comes to echinacea, Echinacea augustifolia, which is the root, and Echinacea porpia root. Those are two different types of root. Usually it's a mix. And then they have the Echinacea exifolia whole herb or leaves. And so there's different types, but if you just get on mountainroseherbs.com, type in Echinacea, it'll bring up both forms, the leaves and the roots. And if you're going to make a tincture, get both of them. That's that. Are there any other questions for tonight? We did the books again. Make sure I didn't miss anybody's question. I think we're good. All right, you guys. Well, if nobody else has any questions, I'm going to let you go because it is 9 o'clock here. And I got to go wrestle some kids into bed. But that's how easy it is to make a tincture. Okay? You're welcome, Sharon. I know there's a ton of information in here, but I didn't want to go through this class without saying all of that because you need to know all of that before you enter into all of this. And anyways, lots of resources. Like I said, if you're trying to heal something, look at www.westinaprice.org to get ideas on how to handle illness. For liver support, like I said, my link's down below for the liver powder. It's desiccated liver powder. If you're not one to eat liver, 2 to 4 ounces once to twice a week. Look into supplementing with liver powder down below. And we already talked about where to get capsules and a encapsulation machine. Oh, just one more thing. Just as a reminder, when you search for these, type in the capsule machine. Don't type in encapsulation machine because that will give you all of the thousands of dollars of capsule machines that the pharmaceutical people use. You just want the easy one for at-home use. And the cheapest spot that I found with a quick little Google search was Swanson Health. They're only $13. They also sell capsules on there. I've never ordered those capsules before, so you have to look into who makes them and what they're made out of. But they definitely sell capsule machines for a really, really good price. All right. I think that's it, guys. Thanks so much for jumping on with me. I appreciate it. It's been lots of fun. Please make sure that you like this video and share it with your friends because I don't know how long YouTube will leave it up, but I'd like for it to reach as many people as possible, especially this day and age with everything that's happening in our world. It's really important that all of us are prepared to take care of our own health. So this is the first step. So I'm so glad you guys joined me, and I'll see you guys in the next video on Tuesday. Actually, we have a live cooking class on Tuesday at 5:15 p.m. Central Standard Time right here on the channel. We're going to be making liver. In fact, one of my kids might even help me. Usually they saute it up. We're going to talk about how long to cook it to make it absolutely delicious and different ways to make it. So that is this Tuesday night at 5:15. I need to make a pre-scheduled event up here on the channel, so keep your eyes out for that. And that will be this next Tuesday. All right, you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you guys in the next video.